Mexican authors is our focus for today's lecture. And we'll begin with Hernan Cortez, who we know came from noble lineage. He studied Latin in the University of Solomon, so he was well written, and we also know that he was a conquistador. One of Hernan Cortez's works that he's known for is the Cartas de Religiones. And in this work, it contains letters from Mexico and describes the events that resulted in the conquest of Mexico, specifically the Aztecs. And he also describes his arrival in the Aztec city, Tenochtitlan. There is some controversy about some of the events that actually take place and the way he describes them in his letters, which we will talk about later in the lecture. But his writings give us a first-hand account of some of the things that he witnessed when he got to the Americas. And he says, "This country, most potent princes, where we now are the name of your majesties, has 50 leagues of coast on one side, and the other side of this town, the sea coast, being low with many sand hills." He also describes some of the animals that he encountered when he was there: wolves, foxes, deers, doves. But he also says that he saw tigers, lions and tigers, which we know are not native to Mexico and were probably mountain lions. He also gives us a description of some of the clothing that the indigenous population wore, and he says which were long veils, very curiously worked. The men wore breech cloths and their bodies and about their bodies, and large mantles, very thin and painted in a style of Moorish draperies. It's a very interesting liking to the Moorish, which we know were usually in southern Spain, and they were out of Africa. The people who inhabited this country he describes from the island of Cozumel and the Cape of Yucatan to the place where we now are a people of middle size and bodies and features well proportioned, except that in each province their customs differ, some piercing the ears and putting large and ugly objects in them, and others piercing the nostrils down to the mouth, putting large round stones like mirrors and other piercings. So we know that though the indigenous population of Mexico may have been in close proximity, some may not, but there were very different customs and traditions. The customs and traditions we know of the Aztecs were quite different from those of the Mayans and the Olmecs. Our next author, Francisco Lopez Gamarra, and he is known for the general history of the Indies, because we know that they thought they were in India, but were not. They were in the Americas. And Francisco Gamarra lived 1511 to 1566. He was a Spanish historian, and he wrote of the Spanish conquest of the Aztec Empire. He lived in Seville, and he never actually went to the New World. So all of his information was taken firsthand from Cortez and some of the other conquistadors. His most noted works were the description of the Cortez expedition and the conquest of the New World.